Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn Introduction to Literary Criticism, BA 3rd for your semester 6th. That is module number 6th. The name of the module number 6th is Introduction to Victorian Criticism, and we are going to learn the background for the Matthew Arnold's touchstone method. That is, you are going to learn in this particular part, module 6th, that is Matthew Arnold's touchstone method. But before learning of Matthew Arnold's touchstone method, we must know what is the Victorian Age, what is the Victorian literary criticism. So this is necessary part of your learning. And now, what is the Victorian criticism? There are periods of Victorian criticism or Victorian period. Here we are going to learn what is the literary criticism and theory, particularly in the context of Victorian criticism. The first part, Victorian Age, which is from 1832 to 1901. Early Victorian Age, that is 1832 to 1870, and late Victorian Age, that is 1870 to 1901. Romantic period, 1798 to 1870. Romantic proper till 1832. Characteristics by the mixture of romantic and realistic features. Realistic period, 1870 to 1914. The period of great contrast. Why it is called as a period of great contrast? See, because great economic progress was done in that period. Again, development of the iron and steel industry. The first railway was introduced or started in England in that Victorian age. So, there is a prosperity of the middle class. Big Victorian families are there. The growing of the British Empire throughout the world is one of the most important points in the Victorian age again. Unhealthy living of the workers, mass poverty, workhouses, child labor, unemployment due to the appearance of machines. See what kind of contrast is shown in the Victorian age. Though there is great economic progress, there is unhealthy living of the workers, and there was mass poverty. 1832, a reform bill was issued, gave political rights, franchises to the middle class men, bourgeois, and bourgeois class emerged in Victorian age, who are the upper middle class people, and they are big Victorian families. That's why they are called as a bourgeois. And next part, that is, see the family of Queen Victoria, the living style of Queen Victoria, and the condition of the workers and industries. Values of Victorian middle class. What are the values of Victorian middle class? Utilitarianism, principle of usefulness, Jeremy Bentham, John Stuart Mill, and Adam Smith. If we learn John Stuart Mill and Adam Smith, we understand the principle of usefulness. Mill's essays on a number of topics, we can understand it teaches us, that is principle of usefulness. Next, hypocrisy of business spirit, profit oriented capitalism, sense of responsibility, moralizing attitude towards the lower classes, snobbery, imitating the manners of the aristocratic, for example Jane Austen's and Thackeray's novels. We can learn these particular characteristics of middle class from Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. Next, evangelicalism, that is Bible reading, obedience, great shock of Darwin's origin of the species with the idea of evolution, survival of the fittest and natural selection is one of the value of the Victorian age, the invention of science, again the invention of industries, the again the three moments introduced in that particular period: Oxford movement, aesthetic movement, and the pre-Raphaelite movement that affected the literature of this period a great deal. So the moral purpose, social purpose, and of this and realism, note of revolt, note of patriotism, and were the main characteristics of the literature of this period. Impact of science on literature was clearly visible in this particular literature. There was note of pessimism running through the literature of the age. Yet there was a note of idealism in the poetry of Tennyson and the note of optimism in the poetry of Browning. So this is the contrast also we can see in this particular literature. The pre-Raphaelites revived interest in the past ages. The literature of the period was considerably influenced by the French, German, and the classical Greek writers. Over and above all, the total output in the literary field was in abundance. Although quite a good deal of poetry was written, yet the Victorian age was essentially the age of prose and novel. That is John Ruskin and the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. The one of the important moment in the Victorian age is important one. That is the Brotherhood emerged in 1848, admired the past and the true craftsmanship, attacked commercialism, mechanization, industrialization, and the mass production. All this meant a threat to art and culture. Influence on Victorian poetry. There was influence of, of Robert Browning, Alfred Lord Tennyson. The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood protested against Victorian ugliness and formalism, idealized movement, idealized medieval art before Raphael, symbolic visionary style, also mysticism. So, pre-Raphaelite movement tried to show the classical things again in the Victorian age, tried to show the idealized medieval art that is written before Raphael, symbolic visionary style used by those writers pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Dante, Gabriel Rossetti, poet and painter John Everty, Milias, John William Waterhouse, Holman Hunt, plus William Morris, father of English applied arts and socialist. Write down the particular literature which is called as a pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood and how they admired the past and the true craftsmanship. This is the photo of the life from the Victorian age, how they are living very luxurious life. Matthew Arnold, the next writer from this period, Culture and Anarchy, 1869, which is published in 1869. Middle class origin, he felt the urge to educate the mob. First true cultural critic with his main aim, perfection of humanity, sweetness and light, that is, on the harmonious perfection of poetry and healthy culture. See the example of Horace's dull utile bee versus spider in Swift's Battle of the Books. Ironic criticism of narrow and inadequate ideals of English Puritanism. For example, morality versus material wealth. We can see the culture and anarchy in the context of the ironic criticism of narrow and inadequate ideals of English Puritanism. The central idea of English life and politics in the assertion of personal liberty, emphasis on freedom and its dangers, the drifting towards anarchy, for example, anarchy in the UK, question of responsibility. The higher classes are not concerned about the masses. The working class, the stronghold of our national idea, is raw and uncultivated, and now wants to break free, should be educated. So, in Matthew Arnold's Culture and Anarchy, he presented the contrast in the age and the lifestyle of the people. There is a big gap between the poverty and richness. That is, next example is given. But one thing is needful, Hellenism versus Hebraism. This is from the book of Culture and Anarchy. Strength, sweetness, and light of Greek art, Greek beauty. Fire, strength, fanaticism of Puritan religion, faith, and work. More relaxed about rules and differences. Possession of one thing needful, lacking tolerance. It has spontaneity of consciousness, and on the other hand, it cultivates strictness of consciousness. For Puritans, the free play spirit of Hellenism is needed to live a perfect, complete life through arts and poetry. So, in this way, we can understand that the particular writer Matthew Arnold is important in this particular Victorian criticism. His particular book Culture and Anarchy show the contrast between the period contrast of the particular age, Victorian age. Again, there are three moments: Oxford movement, pre-Raphaelite movement, and the aesthetic movement emerged in that particular period of Queen Victoria. So here we can understand this is the background for your Victorian criticism and Matthew Arnold's touchstone method. In the next part, we learn about the Matthew Arnold's touchstone method. Till then, stay safe and stay home